Hello, my name is Amanda Thomas, and I'd like to welcome you to A Scientist Walks into a Bar. This podcast features recordings of talks that were given by scientists at events in the Pacific Northwest, generally Portland, Oregon, or Vancouver, Washington. These events in this podcast are created by VIA Productions, where our motto is Better Learning with Beer. If you'd like to learn more about the podcast or how to attend one of our Science on Tap events, please check out our website at viaproductions.org. This episode features an excerpt of a talk given at a Nerd Night event in August 2014 by Christine McKinley. McKinley is a mechanical engineer, musician, and author of the book Physics for Rock Stars: Making the Laws of the Universe Work for You. Both the book and her talk describe what it was like for her to discover the scientific method in school as a child, and how sciences like physics and chemistry have made her life much more interesting and successful. The book also offers practical tips on how you, too, can make physics work to your benefit if you want to become a secret agent or need to protect yourself against ninjas or something. It's actually a really funny book with some great science in it and some surprisingly good life advice. If you'd like to find out more about her book or where McKinley will be playing or speaking in the future, please visit her website at christinemckinley.com.
So the book really is about me falling in love in high school with physics. And usually when I talk about the book now, I'm sort of trying to communicate to people that physics can be like really inspiring and sexy and dangerous and interesting. But since you all are attending Nerd Night, I don't feel like I need to really convince you of that. But maybe, I'm thinking out of tonight, maybe you'll get some ways to talk to other people about physics and about science and be sort of missionaries for physics, if you're not already. Talk to your kids and your friends and maybe your date who's just now realizing that you're not here to see Rocky Horror. This huge bag of rice and a squirt gun, just pissed. Probably like a lot of you, my first inkling wanting to understand science was really, it was about 7th grade, and I learned the scientific method. And it was also about 7th grade that things had not gone spectacularly for me before that. I mean, no one has a perfect childhood, so I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Right around 7th grade, you just think, well, this is effed up. This is like, the world is a little bit rigged. It's kind of surprising. There's not a lot I can count on. And right about then, I learned the scientific method in science class at Wendler Junior High in Anchorage, Alaska. So I thought I would apply it to the one choice that I had in 7th grade. And the one choice I had was either to be a cool kid or a smart kid. And there really was no in between. And I was already kind of on the smart kid team because I was in like the gifted program and I played clarinet and honor band and I ran cross country. So yeah, I was kind of squarely on that team. But it looked like the cool kids weren't as scared of the world as I was. They looked like they had more confidence. They seemed kind of bulletproof. And I knew 2 things about them. They smoked and they got bad grades. And so I really methodically, and I look back on this now and just think, what a weirdo. But I very methodically thought, I will try to do those 2 things. I will be a cool kid, and then I might feel confident and bulletproof, and I won't be so nervous about the world. I couldn't control the world, but I knew that I could control who I was in it. I tried it out, the smoking and the bad grades, and one of the things that the cool kids would do is when they got their report cards, they would all be on the bus, like changing their grades from D's to B's, like, my mom's gonna kill me, and I was like, that looks really cool, and I was sitting in the front of the bus with my A's and B's. So I concentrated on getting not bad grades, but a bad grade, because social studies seemed like kind of the one that was like the throwaway class. And I'm really sorry if there's social studies teachers here. So I concentrated on, I didn't want to do poorly in math or English or anything because those seemed to matter a lot, but social studies, I was like, sorry. But it's hard, it's really hard to get a bad grade in social studies. So I basically like sat on my hands and I still had to watch the film strips about Canadian exports, but I just refused to build those Tlingit totem poles, and I just didn't do any of the activities, and I managed to get a D. So I was pretty psyched, got on the bus, ready to like do the grade changing thing, and I'm like waving around my stupid report card, and it's like all A's and 1D, not at all admitted to the cool kid club. And by then I was smoking a lot too. I was trying to do the smoking thing, and I was stealing my mom's boyfriend's cigarettes, and he realized I was doing that, so he started putting these like nasty Turkish cigarettes in his pack. So I've got like my wimpy little report card, and I'm like coughing up a lung, so I've got the black Turkish lung, and it all went very poorly for me, trying to be a cool kid. And then my mom saw the D, and she was like, well, what do you need to do to fix this? And I needed to do my midterm project, which was to build a little Alaskan gold rush town, a miniature. So I had to build this sad little like wax paper toothpick twig thing with this little prostitutes waving from the saloon windows. It was sad. Yeah, and then the whole cool kid versus smart kid thing kind of went away because my mom married Chuck, who stopped hiding those cigarettes from me because he realized I'd given it up. And we all moved to California, and they enrolled me in a girls' Catholic school where those sort of the cool kid, smart kid thing wasn't as much a big deal because they were all smart, and they didn't smoke, and they didn't skip class, and they were all really confident and really happy. And even the Sisters of St. Joseph kind of had this cool kid swagger, like they knew what was going on. And I wanted to be like that, because that's all I wanted to be when I was trying to be a cool kid. I just wanted to be confident. I just wanted to understand the world. And that's one of the things they're kind of offering you in Catholic school, is not just to get an education, but to actually get this whole life philosophy figured out. So thank goodness for Sister Michelle. She was the freshman science teacher, and I started taking freshman science halfway through the year. And she was the one who explained that nature abhors a vacuum. And she didn't back off. She didn't nature's not super happy with vacuum, doesn't want to date him anymore. It was abhors, and she stuck with it. She never backpedaled. And showed us the whole marshmallow thing, sucked air out of a plastic jug and just watched it crumple and just tortured the shit out of it for us, and stuck with her laws of the universe. And she seemed pretty psyched about them. So she was rejoicing in God's great universe. But science was still hard. I was thinking I would maybe make, cupcakes for a living or something. Or, I wasn't sure I was going to be a mechanical engineer. My stepdad would talk to me about it, this is a really good career choice. And I was like, no, I don't know. And then I realized that in order to take chemistry and physics, you had to go across the street to the boys' school. And I was like, I was totally always going to be an engineer. Of course, I don't even remember. I totally told you I was. So chemistry and physics, yeah, I'm in. And so for chemistry class, we all we had sort of gone over there at lunch sometimes, but we'd never gone over for a class. It was kind of a big deal, and we kind of all walked over in a little plaid-skirted pack, and pointing and giggling, too. That was the only thing we had in our defense. We had, the weak in the middle and the strong on the outside, laughing at the boys, just because that was our best defense, like a pack of plaid-skirted caribou on the tundra. And then we got into the class, and we sort of, as a pack, we all kind of sat down in a couple rows right by the windows, and the boys came in a pack, and they sat on one side. And then the teacher walked in, this giant just wall of plaid and khaki, and started waving his arms and saying, oh, this always happens. The girls on one side and the boys on the other. We got to mix you up. How are you ever going to find dates to the junior prom? Just horrifying, just horrifying. So he made us, a giant air traffic controller, he made us sit in rows, at the Mooney wedding or something. It was terrible. It was terrifying. And then across the row from me, I'm hoping, it's going to be someone super hot. No, not at all. There was a guy named Spanky, and he smelled actually introduced himself as Spanky. I don't think so. I don't think that's your name. And he smelled like tater tots and gasoline. I was like, is this my junior prom date? Seriously? It's not good. So we did have to sit like that, and we did have to, those were our lab partners. He made us mingle. But then as we start studying chemistry with our teacher, we understood his obsession, at least I understood his obsession for pairing and bonding, because that is all what chemistry is about, We were just his little atoms. And when you look at the periodic table, because, at that age, that's all you're thinking about is pairing and bonding. We're so over that now. God, what were we thinking? But when you look at the periodic table, there's sort of the elements on the left that have an electron or 2 or 3 to spare. Yeah. And then there's the one on the right that need an electron or 2 or 3 to make a full outer orbital, which I won't get too heavy into. But basically, it looked like the girls and the boys, at our freshman dance or the first day of chemistry class. And then chemistry about that is all about which ones want to bond with which to get that magic number in their outer orbital. So as he described this, I don't know if everyone was thinking the same thing, but it got kind of graphic in my head. So chlorine, for example, needs 1 valence electron. It's in need of 1. And then there's hydrogen sitting over there, and that's all she's got. That's all she's got is an electron. She's just sitting in a sundress on her porch, and he pulls up in his dusty Camaro. On! It is on. I pictured her wrapping her teensy little electron legs around him. I know. It's horrible. But then they share that electron, so they've got 1. So they have a shared 8, and it's a covalent bond, and so it's more like a marriage. It's like they honeymoon in Amish country and go antiquing and stuff. But ionic bonding, this is how it all sounded to me. Ionic bonding, it can still be chlorine, but this time sodium has kind of got problems. Sodium's a little needy. She's over in that same column, but she doesn't wait for him to come over and drive over in his Camaro. She just sneaks over in the middle of the night to the periodic table, past the base metals, catcalling her, just throws herself at chlorine, and he doesn't share the electron. He takes it from her. He hogs it all. So then they're magnetically attracted to each other, and they can't get away from each other. And it's not healthy. It's not good. Their friends are horrified, but what can you do? I know. But that wasn't even the worst of it. So we've got the healthy and the unhealthy relationship. Then we've got sulfur throwing a smelly arm over each of a hydrogen atom, making a threesome. What? I know. Metallic chains, right? Benzene ring. Incestuous benzene ring. That's wrong, carbon. That is wrong. That's how I experienced chemistry class.
Thanks for listening. I'll be posting more episodes soon on lots of topics, ranging from epigenetics to how to reverse opiate overdoses. If you'd like to find out more about the podcast or what's coming up at our Science on Tap events in Portland and Vancouver, please visit our website at viaproductions.org or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/scienceontap_ORWA. That last part is for Oregon and Washington. I'd like to say a special thank you to my volunteers and friends, the Minions. They do nearly everything behind the scenes at these events to make sure they run smoothly, from making sure the microphones work, to selling merchandise, to finding ways to make do when the projector literally explodes, although that only happened once, thankfully. The Minions are Scott Fry, Michelle Herman, Sam Lauk, Ashley Miller, Rita Nygren, Katie Parsons, Stephen Perry, Anja Spethman, and Chris Trone. Thank you guys, you're amazing. Also, a final thank you to Jonathan Coulton for letting us use his song Mandelbrot Set as our theme music.
You're a heart-shaped box of strings and wire in one badass fucking fractal, and you're just in time to save the day, sweeping all our fears away.